Growing up, I believed that if I became a teacher and earned 30,000 a year, all my problems would go away. Fast forward, I'm 31, I'm not a teacher, and I've passed 100k in income. I grew up in a council home where there was 8 of us in 2 bedrooms, and my dad was a factory worker and my mum was a stay-at-home mum. And so when you grow up with not a lot of options, the hardest thing is not even knowing what options actually exist. In this video, I'm going to break down my career journey along with tips that you can take along the way, depending on what stage you are in your life. So I'm going to start from when I was about 18 all the way up until where I am now, 31. My first jobs, which were the real foundations. So when I was 19, I think 18 or 19, I got a job at a jeweler's, and that taught me very good customer service skills. So learning how to talk bit more confidently than what I originally used to speak with. I used to have a stutter as well, so that helped me kind of get rid of that a little bit. It taught me how to be presentable, and then eventually I changed roles into, well, did a complete career switch and got a supermarket job, which is pretty much standard in the UK. But again, that taught me good work ethic, because there was times where I really didn't want to go to work. It was a lot more physically demanding, but I showed up anyway. It taught me how to be responsible. And so those early jobs that you can get really lay down the foundation, and learning those characteristics become your default. So when you start interviewing for professional roles, you already stand out. Also, when you work young, you're already used to being in professional environments, and so they don't become abnormal to you. So lesson 1 is get a job as soon as you can, as young as you can, and don't just treat it like a job, treat it more like training for your future role. So I would focus on behaviors that would stay with you for life. So learn to be punctual, learn to communicate more confidently, learn to be more reliable, and learn to take responsibility. Now looking back, those jobs laid the foundation, but I also didn't know what I wanted to do in the future. And so I kind of just followed the ordinary path of going to university. Now I had no career plan. It just felt like the most next logical step. So I studied biology. And that's because my parents, well, my mum wanted me to become a doctor. I didn't want to become a doctor, so I just thought I'll just do biology because it was the closest thing to it. Of course, I know I won't be able to become a doctor, but the point is that I had no idea what I wanted to do. I just was following the motion, picked a biology undergrad, and I was just confused. So I thought, you know what, I'll just become a teacher. I'll teach this subject because I like it, but it's not really what I wanted to do. And I remember researching teacher salaries, and it was around 30k at that time. And I thought, yeah, if I earn 30k, great, like I've made it. But that was because I grew up without exposure to different careers. Everyone around me pretty much worked retail, and in my head that was like success, which again, I'm not knocking down anyone who works retail. I'm just saying that was the level that I was exposed to around my life. So the lesson here is you can't pursue opportunities you don't know exist. So if you're early in your career and you're not sure what to do, university is an option, but it's not the only option. There are other things you can do instead of going to university, such as doing an apprenticeship where you basically learn and earn at the same time. You don't earn a lot, but the good thing is you won't end up in a lot of debt like most university or college students will do. You can also just apply for a job and just start working your way up naturally without going to university. A lot of careers are doing that. You don't have to go to university to be successful. So let's say you end up in university like me and you're doing a degree where you're not really sure where it's going to take you. Good thing for you, there's something called a graduate scheme. This is where companies hire graduates, train them up, and basically you accelerate a lot faster than someone who just joined a company. So I joined an accounting graduate scheme. So I became a qualified accountant in 3 years, no experience whatsoever. I did a biology degree and switched to accounting. Now the thing is about graduate schemes is they're difficult to get into, and you have to apply early on. So when you finish your second year of university or college, on your final year, you should be applying to these roles. Now, when I was applying, I got rejected left, right, and center. Literally 99% of my schemes that I applied to rejected me. Some of them I didn't even get passed through the online assessments. I got 2 interviews out of all the roles I applied to. I failed one. I remember I was like, it was a phone interview, and I remember he asked me a question. I had no answer. I hung up the phone and said, there was some technical difficulty on my end. Called him back and then blagged my way through it. Didn't get it, obviously, because, panicked. Then my second interview was at a Big 4 firm. It was one of the last interviews they did. I managed to just sneak in and managed to get that role. But again, I applied to many roles, got rejected, and I only got into one, and I only had one offer, but that's all I needed. So the lesson here is graduate schemes are some of the most powerful ways to enter your professional career. I highly recommend them. if you have the opportunity to do them. But again, you don't need to do a graduate scheme. Apprenticeships are available, etc. But it's a great way to start a career. So if you're on your second year of university, I highly recommend researching all the graduate schemes and what companies offer them. Practice the online assessments as early as possible, because mostly you'll probably fail at that because they ask questions that you just don't see on a day-to-day. Apply even if you're unsure. Even if you don't want to do some of the schemes like go into finance and you work like a science degree like me, it's a good backup. At least you have a job and you're earning money if you get into one when you graduate. There's another tip is if you're in your second year of university, try and apply for a summer internship as soon as you can. So in between your second and third year, if you can get a summer internship in that summer, that would be great. It's similar to a graduate scheme in the way you apply, but it's less. It's usually a lot less work. But the good thing is if you do really well in those internships, they give you a permanent spot for the year after for a graduate scheme. When I applied and I got into my scheme, one individual got a permanent graduate scheme by doing a summer internship. Now, let's say you're in a professional environment, right? And you're trying to get promoted as quickly as possible. In my opinion, it doesn't just come from time, right? You have to be technically good at your job, but also it comes from a lot of trust. And that is a very big thing, especially as you want to start to get more senior, right? The people above you need to rely on you to be able to perform. I'll give you an example. When I was a graduate, I was given a very complex client to the point where I only had a senior manager above me. There's usually another manager in between. And it was difficult. It was a difficult client because it's not the way we normally do things. So I wasn't used to this client. Neither was the senior manager, by the way. And so at first I was a bit nervous, like, oh crap, I'm working just for a senior manager. What if I mess this up and he's going to see so many mistakes in my work? But a part of me remembered actually a saying from my line manager, and she was like, well, to get promoted quickly is you make the person above you, you make their job very easy for them. And so I thought, okay, if I could make reviewing my work very easy for the senior manager, he'll probably give me good feedback, right? It was a very hard task. It was a very hard client, yes. But turns out after I did a good job on it, he gave me such good feedback that it basically gave me like the highest rating that you could get as a junior at that time. And so the lesson here is promotions don't just come from time, they come from trust. If you're trying to get promoted, I would 1, take ownership. Don't wait to be micromanaged and take responsibility for your own work. 2, solve problems early. Don't just detect the problem, but offer a solution. Your solution might not be right, but at least you're thinking on your own feet and you're giving some sort of solution to the problem. 3, if you can make the person above you, if you can make the manager's job easier, the more they can rely on you, the more valuable you become to them. And 4, very important, is lean into difficult situations. Usually that's the best time to show how good you are, and that's usually where you grow the most. Now imagine you've done all those things, you learned a lot, you gain experience, you gain trust, you may have got promoted once or twice. How do you get another pay jump, especially if there isn't room for promotions? Sometimes your skills are valued at one company more than the current company you're in. I'll give you an example for me. When I was at the Big Four, I loved my team, I loved the work. In terms of where I wanted to go, I realized that it wasn't at my current place. And so I switched jobs. So coming from a Big Four firm, I went to a smaller firm and they valued my skills a lot more. And so they gave me a 30% pay increase. So what you also should be doing, think about the team and culture fit. That's also going to impact your long-term growth. You want a team that's supportive and has got your back. So don't just move for more money if the team isn't that great. I would happily take less pay if I'm happy at my workplace than to take more pay and be miserable. So the lesson here is don't just move for more income, move for more growth. I finish off with this is people make a big deal about earning 6 figures. In my opinion, I didn't come from a lot. So for me, covering my bills, my rent, my mum's bills, etc., she can use the heating as much as she wants. Like for me, that's happiness to me. So I was happy earning 50 or 60k a year because that allowed me to do everything I wanted to do as a child, basically, is never have to worry about bills. Don't put your happiness on earning a certain figure in life, because when you get there, it won't be that relief moment that you think you're going to get. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Peace.